Well, good morning, everybody. Hope you're all wide awake now and had your cup of coffee and your breakfast. 10 minutes doesn't really give me a lot of time to talk about what is a fairly complicated or complex and multifaceted project. However, thank you. I will just stick to some first principles on this. This presentation has an awful lot more slides to it than I'm going to show you. But I'm here all day, so if you want to develop a conversation about what we're doing and what IPEA is about, then I'm pleased to talk to you. Just very quickly, because I know we haven't got a lot of time. I mean, we are, if you like, the granddaddy of the active and intelligent packaging industry. We've been in the business for 13 years, and I like to think that we're responsible for developing the ecosystem across 6 continents with 1,800 members, which we have today, and a much wider audience for some of the things that we do. Our aim was to develop an ecosystem to bring people together, to share information, to swap ideas, and to join together, and that's a very important point. Brand owners and retailers do not want individual components, they want total solutions, and that's the key, along with some of the other things that Naresh talked about, such as scalability, which are very important and vital. We believe as well that educating consumers, sharing data is an extremely important part of the success and the future of active and intelligent packaging. For those of you who want to know a bit more about us, there's a website address at the bottom of that page. Oh, I moved it on accidentally. Let me go back if I can. Oh, well, no, I'm not going back. Let's leave it on that slide for a second. Really, that tells you the story of active and intelligent packaging. What it does, so shelf extension, consumer engagement. How it does it is the green bars, and who it acts upon is the orange thing in the middle. All of these things can be interconnected. You can't take some of the technologies in isolation. You have to join them together. And I was very pleased to see Mr. Grover talk about, very briefly, NaviLens, which is a very clever QR code, which is being put on cereal packaging in the UK and now rolling out across Europe, which is about helping people with partial sight or blind people to actually get instructions about the product in an audio format, and it's now being rolled out across quite a lot of brands. Coca-Cola have used it, Quorn are using it, and I believe Pringles are starting to use it as well in some markets. These haven't really changed since we started this business. The key drivers to the development of smart packaging, I've highlighted condition monitoring because that, in an ideal world, was where I was going to spend the next 20-25 minutes. But I will talk about that briefly. But digitization and data management, the one under that little red dot, the little red thing, is very important. We're finding that people have the means to use smart packaging, but are not actually using the information and the data that they're getting in a really intelligent way. And the bigger the companies, the worse it gets, because big companies tend to live in silos. And what you're gathering from intelligent packaging, because it's giving data not only outwards to the consumer, but backwards to the companies who are actually making the products or delivering the products. And we've got to actually join those things up and make people share the data. Certainly meeting the needs of new legislation, certainly exploiting the development. I mean, you've already seen on some of the preamble videos of fasciculus, the way they can use smartphones to develop a very sophisticated suite of anti-counterfeiting products. It's very important that we actually exploit that new and growing use across not only those markets like Asia and here, where using the smartphone for everything seems to be second nature, but even in America and Europe where we don't, believe it or not. Things like blockchain, important. Of course, cost reduction. When we first started this thing, RFID tags cost 50 cents each. And that meant that they were very restricted on where you could use them. Now they, certainly in the Asian and South Asian markets, they're coming down to 1 or 2 cents, and they could even go lower than that. And of course, the features that they contain are becoming a lot more. Food safety is a big issue. It's not the only issue. Of course, sustainability and food waste go together. Food safety, food waste, food security. They're interconnected. And I think it's important for us to realise that the title of this whole day is Smart, Active and Sustainable Packaging. And I can tell you right at the beginning, 12 years ago, if we actually mentioned sustainability in smart packaging, people used to hold their hands up in horror because they thought that smart packaging could never be sustainable. Actually, it's now very firmly part of that solution. I'm going to go to condition monitoring very quickly because I know I haven't got a lot of time. Condition monitoring is an essential part of food safety and food security. Helping extend shelf life is very important, and there are lots and lots of research going on, lots and lots of things happening which are making more active materials, improving shelf life, developing antimicrobial and antibacterial things. But we have to actually have a means of monitoring the condition of the product right across the supply chain, into the retail, and now even into the home. India does not have a big issue with wasting food in the home. Its areas are at the harvesting end and through the logistics supply chain. It's somewhat different in Western markets, as I'm sure you're well aware. But we have to start using condition monitoring a lot more across supply chains, in all markets, and we are seeing more and more of that happening. And I had further down this slide some very interesting examples, but they'll have to wait for another day. One of the things that I did was a bit of back research on what are the issues in India. Obviously, food loss and waste in the early stages is where the problems are. I identified, and it's not just me who's identifying it, your own research programs and government are identifying that you have an awful lot of research about what's happening at the harvest end, but not a lot of things about what's happening in the food supply chains. So condition monitoring can help develop a whole new set of data about that. These are very clearly the first principles of where smart packaging can act on food waste. Slowing ripening and antimicrobial, using novel materials to develop antimicrobial and antibacterial, condition monitoring again. Recycling and reuse is an important aspect of not of food waste, obviously, but of the packaging, and developing ways of recycling food waste or food packaging is something that's being focused on quite a lot now because, of course, certain types of material cannot be used again in the same area, like food contact, if they've already been used as a food packaging. Blockchain, of course, is extremely important because it joins the things up. Again, I come back to the point that we actually realise that we need to share that data an awful lot more. And importantly, educating and informing people about how smart packaging can benefit and how it can be the solution to some sustainable practices. I'm going to end with this slide because I think it's very important for us to not lose our heads when we get to the packaging attack, I think I would call it, from just about everywhere. Media, government, legislators, NGOs, friends at the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, at RAP and all of that. They really simply, in my opinion, do not think it through. They do not talk to the right people. They listen to their own inner voices. The right packaging for the right product is going to save food. The wrong packaging is going to waste food, and it's as simple as that. And what we have to do is make sure that we have a balanced approach to this and that we actually understand which packaging, even things like single-use packaging in certain markets, is an absolute boon because it means that people can afford to buy the product. So smart packaging can actually have an answer to some of this and really be a great informer, a great enabler of what we can do to reduce and waste food in all markets across the whole world, whether they're Europe or Asia or South Asia, India specifically. Every region has its own priorities, and we have the means to adapt the technologies to actually make sure that it works in all those markets and really have a positive benefit. Again, I'm not going to carry on because my time's been up, but please come and talk to me if you want to see more of this presentation, or if you want to know more about what we do, go and visit our website. I am back later in the afternoon. We're talking a bit more at a leisurely pace about circularity, transparency and trust, and I look forward to joining you again then. In the meantime, thank you and enjoy and have a very productive day. Thank you.